Mayans reached some place, and somebody took them from here. It was the end of a calendar cycle and the beginning of another calendar cycle that means a lot to some intelligence out there.
The word underworld makes people shudder, and we immediately imagine darkness and mystery. For the Maya, it was a hidden place, the Xibalbá, which you could access through the cenotes and descend into its depth until you reach the great network of underground rivers that course beneath the peninsula. They identified not one god of the underworld, but several. The tunnel was sealed off centuries ago by the Maya, but archaeologists planned to clear it in order to reach a hidden cenote, an underwater cavern that was central to Mayan spirituality. Cenotes are water-filled sinkholes and are the only source of fresh water in Mexico's Yucatan state. The Mayan civilization could not have survived here without them, but as well as sustaining physical life, these deep caverns were a key part of the Mayan cosmology. So what was the Mayan underworld, and what did Mayans believe about death? Imagine walking down a jungle pathway and you turn a corner to see the ruins of a huge temple rising above the trees with a stone platform at its feet. To think that some 4,000 years ago, someone stood in that exact place as you were perhaps participating in a ritual ceremony. Welcome to the world of the Mayans. Before we begin, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos. Mayan civilization is probably one of the greatest pre-Columbian civilizations that extended from Central America to present-day Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and southern Mexico. Here, the cultural richness of Mayan architecture is seen alongside with the dense rainforest, replete with wildlife, and well-preserved soil-covered cities built by an ancient Mayan empire. The temples reveal jade masks and jewelry, elaborate sarcophagi, and crystal death skulls. The period between 250 to 900 AD in the Mayan calendar witnessed the peak of its architecture. Not to forget, Mayans were very modern for their time and invented the first hieroglyphic script, which is one of the earliest of writing scripts. Ritual human sacrifice was practiced by the Mayans, and some stone engravings have been found on the walls and other structures depicting a human sacrifice bound to a stake being disemboweled. It was considered an honor to be sacrificed, and the sacrificing was usually done by removing the still beating heart from under the ribs. De Anda, an underwater archaeologist, says there is still much to learn about the role of human sacrifice in Mayan life. He was previously analyzed the bones of human sacrifices found in Chichen Itza's sacred cenote and discovered that around 80% of the victims were children between the ages of 3 and 11. Sometimes it's hard to understand why they sacrificed children, but we have to stop and think about the health status of those children, he says. They were a very low stratum of society, maybe children stolen from other communities for sacrifice. Dianada says that analysis of the children's skulls, bones, and teeth has revealed that they were in poor health, showing signs of anemia and malnutrition. There is a possibility they were already dead when they were deposited in the cenote, and maybe they honored them by putting them there, or maybe they were trying to send their spirit to send a message to the water gods. But he admits, to get the truth, we still need to do a lot of research. From the late 8th century through to the end of 9th century, something mysterious happened to the Maya civilization. One by one, the cities were abandoned, and by 900 AD, the entire civilization just collapsed. Now, back to the Mayan underworld. For Mayans, cenotes were the entrance to the underworld, says Guillermo de Anda, who is leading the team from the Great Mayan Aquifer Project. The Maya conceived of the cosmos as having 3 basic layers: heavens, earth, and underworld. He explains, the underworld was very important. It was considered the origin of life, and if the Mayans didn't keep a good balance between the layer of the universe and their own, it could mean drought, famine, or sickness. So they knew they had to keep the peace with their deities of the underworld, and this is why sometimes they made offerings. A team is returning to the tunnels with the aim of clearing them enough to find an entrance to the cenote under El Castillo. De Anda believes the excavation will take around 3 months to complete. There are known cenotes directly to the north, east, south, and west of El Castillo, which De Anda says indicates the settlement pattern is directly related to the natural sacred geography. The Pyramid of the Moon is the second largest in Mexico, behind the Pyramid of the Sun, dating back to as far as 100 AD. The structure is located at the end of the Avenue of the Dead in modern-day San Juan, Teotihuacan, a place used for performing ritual sacrifices of animals and humans by the Mayans. After building on investigations lasting more than 300 years, archaeologists discovered a hidden tunnel that leads to a 15-meter across chamber deep in the heart of the structure. Researchers believe this mysterious cavity might have been a funeral space, acting as a passage to the underworld. According to the sacred book, the Popol Vuh, the underworld included a whole structure below the surface because the gods were organized by hierarchies. There was a council and a civilization very similar to the one on Earth. The Maya believed that several gods known as the Lords of Xibalbá inhabited the underworld. These coexisted with the celestial gods and humans, each with their own territory and with their own rules, a mythological vision that we can also find in other civilizations. The gods of the underworld were represented by skeletons, skulls, shadows, darkness, and colors such as black and yellow, which related to death according to the Maya. They were worshipped and sacrifices were made in their honor, as they were believed to maintain the balance of life and death on Earth. If they did not receive the corresponding sacrifices, their wrath and capacity for destruction were awakened, triggering disease, pain, and disasters among other punishments for humans. The main gods of the Xibalbá were Hun Kami, 1 death, and Vukam Kami, 7 death. The rest of the gods of the underworld had other functions. For example, Kisan personifies the devil and fear among the Maya. He is represented with necklaces and bracelets with the eyes of the dead in yellow and black. It was believed that the soul was stolen from men who acted badly in life, so to utter his name causes fear. Suk-Ukyum, elder brother of God, the Father Creator, is the guardian of Kisan and is charged with acting as judge to determine the punishment that corresponds to all souls or to send them to eternal rest. Yom Kamil is the god of death, and his name literally means Lord of the Dead. He is represented with a rope and sometimes with an owl. He is related with death and, ironically, with germination. The underworld, as the Maya conceived it, is a universe that you will surely want to know more about. So, on your next visit to the cenotes, take along your spirit of adventure, and keep in mind that you're entering a sacred portal, a place where the Maya honored the gods of the underworld. Maya beliefs about the afterlife. The Maya had several forms of ancestor worship. They built figures containing ashes of the dead and brought them food on festival days. Alternatively, a temple could be built over an urn. Before Spanish influence, there may not have been a common idea of the afterlife. The Yucatec Maya believed that there was different routes after death. The Maya believed that the soul is bound to the body of birth. Only death or sickness can part the body and soul, with death being the permanent parting. To them, there is an afterlife that the soul reaches after death, and that deceased ancestors can still contact their descendants, answering advice when they are asked. This contact can be used at certain times in the season, or when certain family matters pertain to the ancestors. Understanding the perception of what the deceased do in their afterlife can give ideas towards what rituals need to be performed and what types of items one must be buried with in order to successfully navigate the afterlife. The concept of the afterlife, or Xibalbá, differs between the Maya ethnic groups. Many have a generalized belief of all souls going to the afterlife, being reincarnated, or having another role to participate in after death. But these ideas change dramatically with the rise of Christianity. With that come the idea of Xibalbá being a location of punishment. The longer one spent in Xibalbá, the worse a life they led while living. With this belief, heaven became a paradise for many to strive for. The Chantol of Tabasco are an example of this. Today, the Yucatec Maya of Belize still honor their dead in the traditions of Hanal Pixin and Bix.